Another Mario course ranking, huh? Well, Sunshine only had 9 of them, 64 had 17 of them. Galaxy can't have that many, right? Oh. Combine the regular galaxies with all of the Bowser stages, Hungry Luma, and Green Star galaxies, and that number just goes up and up. I'm ranking the Mario galaxies based on whether their stars are enjoyable, challenging for their spot in the game, and how well they use the galaxy's new gimmicks, and a healthy dose of my gut feelings, because you can't quantify why you like or dislike certain courses. If you're interested in more Mario rankings, I have a playlist in the description. Let's jump right in with... At number 42, we have the Grand Finale Galaxy, unlocked after collecting all 120 Power Stars as Mario, and then collecting all 120 Power Stars again as Luigi. You have to do 2 full playthroughs of the game with a slightly slipperier character to even have access to this final level, and your reward? You get to walk through the prologue while collecting purple coins. Look, I'm not saying it's the worst reward of all time or anything, but this was their chance to expand the playable area of the prologue so that re-exploring the town would feel more interesting. Instead, it's just seeing a handful of characters from the few populated galaxies you visited, and getting some cute pictures for your album from a toad at the end. What if we could have gone into the castle, had it be a reference to Mario 64? For what it's worth though, if you're playing Galaxy super casually, this reward will hit better because you'll just take breaks between play sessions, maybe stagger your Mario and Luigi playthroughs across different months. But because I like to 100% platformers, I had to lock the fuck in, and that second playthrough, while a tad quicker, left me fatigued by the end. I had to start playing Mario Galaxy 2 just to reset myself, but that's a future video. At number 41, we have the Dusty Dune Galaxy. This is a personal pick, but I've never been able to enjoy Dusty Dune, and I went into this playthrough ready to really give it some grace. You have no idea. For what it's worth, I totally understand why this would be much higher for some viewers. It's got a strong sense of identity, many of the stars focus on pure platforming, which is often considered a plus, each star ends with a fairly memorable set piece, but for me, there's just an issue with the vibe. Compared to its sequel, Galaxy 1 is all about exploration, featuring levels with main areas that have smaller planets off to the sides. Dusty Dune changes this though, with some of the lengthiest stars in the game, whilst also having extremely linear level design. A majority of the stars feature some sort of auto-scrolling segment, be it waiting for a sand pillar to raise up so you can reach a warp star, or the hidden treasure of the Pyramid Green Star that has you slowly waiting for sand to raise and lower as you walk along the walls. Sun-Baked Sandcastle ends with a chase sequence as the glass tower you're climbing is slowly swallowed into the dunes, though I don't actually mind this one that much. And after both my Mario and Luigi playthroughs, I have a vendetta against the end portion of blasting through the sand. Sure, flipping across 2 sides of a large disc while doing platforming and avoiding tornadoes sounds cool, and the first time through it actually is, but making the prankster comet of this galaxy a speedrun of that same star with no concessions, and then making the purple coins mission take place at the very end here with all the tornadoes, really ruined the goodwill that I'd made up. One false slip, you're pulled into the quicksand, collect those purples from the beginning, boy, and I had to do that with Luigi so many times. I do have a few positives though. The Sandstream planet, where you collect the Pull Star fragments in Mission 2, is a lot of fun, and the raising and lowering sandcastle in Star 3, while a bit tedious, can be completed very quickly once you know the locations of all the Warp Star fragments. Overall though, Dusty Dune overstays its welcome, and it feels like a particularly slow patch of Mario Galaxy, a game that is already admittedly much slower than the first 2 games in the 3D series, which only exacerbates the issues further. At number 40, we have the Snowcap Galaxy. For the most expensive Hungry Luma, I was expecting a challenge, not another rabbit collectathon. Not to say I didn't enjoy the puzzle element of collecting the rabbits, with one of them being hidden beneath the snow, one of them being hidden inside a snowman, and one of them being hidden inside a chest that you need a green shell to break open, but this is the sort of galaxy I expect in the early to mid-game. As one of the final stars you can collect, it flops on all fronts, and feels like the developers just didn't know what to do, so they said, fuck it, catch some bunnies, call it a day. Also, tiny nitpick, but why do we have to spawn in on a random tiny planet before blasting down to the main one? Just let us land by the rabbits and have the conversation be instantly activated when we arrive. At number 39, we have the Scurry Galaxy. Yep, I ranked this one above Dusty Dune. You have to run around the shrinking satellite, collecting the trail of music notes as they appear. Once they're collected, the black hole in the center becomes a power star. It's an early optional challenge, but that's about it. It actually gets reused in Sea Slide with a harder variant later in the game, which kinda docks this one a couple of points. Fun fact though, the shape of this galaxy is called a rhombocuboctahedron. Thank you Mario Wiki for that one. Never say my videos aren't educational. At number 38, we have the Flipswitch Galaxy. One of the first single-star galaxies, you have to turn on all the switches to spawn the star, but if you re-step on them, the switches will turn back off. And you have to be careful of the gravity changes between the 3 different sides, plus the moving platforms which can clip you with their spikes and knock you into the void. This wasn't meant to be a challenge, just an introduction to the flip-switch mechanics, which are used more in future galaxies. It's a filler star. At number 37, we have the Big Mouth Galaxy. The concept of diving into a giant stonefish is pretty cool, but the actual objective here is kind of boring. You have to swim past a series of boos until you reach a large central chamber. The developer intended path is then to collect sling star fragments down below in the water, allowing you to sling to the upper part of the cave to collect the golden shell, which you then swim back to the start of this galaxy to open up the chest containing Captain Toad. But you can just wall jump from the bottom pool to the top pool, skipping that challenge completely. Great for speedrunning, not so much for making the level feel remotely interesting from an objective standpoint. At number 36, we have the Sand Spiral Galaxy. Despite this being one of the most memorable side levels from the first Galaxy game, I found it so underwhelming this time around. You get to pick from 2 different power-ups, the Bee Mushroom and the Boo Mushroom, and you use their abilities to get through the sand spiral to the other side. For Mario's playthrough, I went with Boo Mario, which was extremely easy to manage, just float on through, avoid the easy to dodge lights, and ignore the boos. While for Luigi's playthrough, I went with Bee Luigi, which was also extremely easy to manage, just fly in short bursts and avoid the water bubbles in the tunnel. The concept of a level where you decide which power-up to use is fantastic, but by god, they went nowhere with it. At least the final portion is pretty fun. You get an invincibility star and you can either run around the spiral to reach the center, or do some fun long jumps to skip portions of the spiral until you can reach the gravitational pull of the central planet. Struggled with this second half as a kid, but as an adult I could see the skips and had no issues. God, this level is just lost potential, the galaxy. At number 35, we have the Drip-Drop Galaxy. Here you have to help the penguins deal with an outbreak of giant eels. There are 3 of them swimming around the waters, and to beat them you need to fling green or red shells their way to spawn the star. Green shells move in a straight line, while red shells home in on their opponents. It's Mario Kart, baby. From my part, I thought this galaxy was cute, but it gets severely overshadowed by the Bonefin Galaxy later in the game, which has a similar premise, but with a more interesting setting and encounter. Honestly, this is one of the most forgettable galaxies in the first game, but killing the eels is genuinely fun when I remember it exists. And that is enough to keep it out of the bottom 5 at least. At number 34, we have the Gateway Galaxy. It's such an iconic vista, it was the basis for Rosalina's stage in Super Smash Bros. Alongside the Good Egg Galaxy. In the first game, it's the home of your very first star, and an optional purple coin mission featuring the elusive Red Star power-up. I like the opening stage of Galaxy. It teaches you all the important elements you'll need for this game, how to use the launch stars, the concept of fragmented stars you collect to create paths, the black holes. The only downside to this stage is the constant Lumas interrupting you to talk. I wish they were optional conversations. As when I'm turning on flip switches in the final room with the Grand Star, I don't want to be interrupted mid-movement by a Luma telling me what I'm already doing. Then the purple coin star is cute, but I find the red power-up a bit awkward to control. I like that when you spin, it pulls in purple coins, which makes some of the collection a bit simpler, but when you're down to just a few coins left and you're flying through the sky trying to find them, but you can't because of the way the level curves, it can get a bit tedious. Plus, why introduce this flight mechanic only to never have the red stars be relevant for anywhere outside of just for fun in the Comet Observatory? At number 33, we have the Rolling Green Galaxy. The first of the rolling ball minigames, they really aimed for this traditional Wii Sports golf course style here. You start in a fenced off area, so you won't bounce off unless you jump. Then you're thrown into the deep end with Goombas, holes in the floor, and question mark coins that spawn star bits. On the Switch, I found the sequence pretty easy, as the controls for stopping the ball's momentum are really responsive, and overall, I didn't have much trouble. I think I'm a bit spoiled by Mario Galaxy 2 though, whose rolling ball levels have so much more creativity to them, and it made the Rolling Green Galaxy feel a bit too tame by comparison. At number 32, we have the Sea Slide Galaxy. I really wanted to like Sea Slide, believe me. The concept of a looping galaxy via a vast tunnel of water that you can swim through is really cool, but I found the stars here to be extremely lackluster. Following Guppy through the water is fine enough, it lets you learn the lay of the course despite being kind of boring. Then you race against some penguins, but if you have any sense of speed and you hit all the boost rings, you will never risk being below first place. After that, the galaxy goes into absolute chaos. We have a hungry Luma that once fed unlocks a redux of a previous star from a different galaxy we've already covered in this video, which feels really lazy and doesn't utilize any of Sea Slide's unique features. The underwater Cosmic Mario race is just over too quickly. I think it'd be more engaging to have you race Cosmic Mario through more of the course than just the first 2 turns, where if you fail to get a shell early, you're just kind of screwed. And God forbid you have to do the Silver Star or Purple Coin missions. I'm not against them in concept. Using B Mario to fly around the Sea Slide, using the clouds to collect silver stars or purple coins is honestly pretty cute. However, both of these missions are extremely lengthy with no way to speed them up. You could be here for 15 to 20 minutes per attempt, depending on your speed and whether you know all the locations of the coins and stars. The purple coin mission especially annoys me because from the starting island, you can do this perfect loop to collect all the purple coins so that by the time you arrive back on that starting island, you've collected them all. But instead, the developers spawn the star on top of this tower halfway into the level, so there's no convenient way to route this course because the star doesn't spawn at the mission's natural endpoint. It's a shame because I actually really like the purple coin missions in Galaxy. They're way more fun than the 100 coin stars from SM64, but I also don't want to spend 20 minutes per star here. Sea Slide, you could have been so much more. At number 31, we have the Deep Dark Galaxy. Weirdly enough, I had a lot of fond memories of this galaxy from when I was a kid, but as it turns out, those memories were purely of the very first star featuring the fight against Camilla on the ghost ship. Actually, one of the best bosses in the game, not gonna lie. Turns out the rest of the stars just didn't vibe with me. Deep Dark has an identity problem. Spooky ghost ship, mechanical walls leading up to a star you create via a watermelon, a random recreation of the Gateway Galaxy that deflates, a mandatory fire flower planet you have to cannon to for 2 different stars, another Guppy chase that feels just as riveting as the first one, and the Boo in a Box star disappointed me so much. What do you mean that the galaxy icon on the map screen prominently features the Boo in a Box star, only for it to be a tiny room with 1 Boo, 1 regular enemy, and a gravity switching mechanic? I wanted some Ghost House action. What is this galaxy trying to be? What is the actual theme? It's just assets thrown together with no rhyme or reason, and don't even get me started on the purple coin star. Oh my fucking god. They took away any enemies that could have given this star some challenge and just threw the coins around the ghost ship. There's no challenge here. There's no time limit to make you move fast. They just picked a part of the level, put the coins down, and said, finished. The great purple coin stars in Mario Galaxy all have either fun gimmicks or use a dynamic part of their galaxy as the setting for the challenge. There's nothing dynamic about this stationary ghost ship. There's nothing dynamic about Deep Dark, even if I do like the atmosphere. At number 30, we have the Loopde-loop Galaxy. The first of the 2 Manta Ray motion control minigames. I think with the tighter motion controls of the Switch Joy-Cons, Loopde-loop is actually really fun. Is it difficult? God no. You make a handful of tight turns and for the most part are completely safe as you explore, but I found the concept novel, and even though I didn't see a single loop in said galaxy, I will forgive, because I know they have something crazier coming later in the game. At number 29, we have the Rolling Gizmo Galaxy. This is the Green Star variant of the ball minigame, featuring a much stronger theme of colourful gears and cogs. The actual obstacles are tougher, involving moving platforms, rotating cogs, a handful of thin walkways you have to carefully navigate, there are bombs that can blow you off the course if you get too close, and the last segment with the 2 moving concrete blocks is evil. I died here a handful of times, and the rage is palpable since there are no checkpoints. But that's the point of the Green Star difficulty. It's not the hardest course in the world, but it is challenging. And while again, I prefer both the Rolling Ball Galaxies from the second game, I do think the Rolling Gizmo Galaxy is a really solid time. At number 28, we have the Boo's Boneyard Galaxy. Once you arrive, you head into a pipe and are released into one of Mario Galaxy's 2D segments. They're not as prevalent in the first game compared to the sequel, and that makes them a little more jarring when they appear in the main campaign, but here, with the Boo power-up, the 2D side-scrolling works wonders. You have to race a Boo to the bottom of the course, phasing through glass walls and hitting question coin blocks to activate fans that will push you further along. There are a host of little shortcuts and optimizations you can make during this race, to the point where I wasn't worried about actually losing, more so I was focused on how quickly I could finish the galaxy. Had there been a second star that was only given for, let's say, a sub 55 second run, I think I would have had more fun, but unlike the past 3D games, it feels like the development team were a bit averse to those time trial concepts in Galaxy outside of the speedrun comets. At number 27, we have the Honeyclimb Galaxy. I'm not surprised that they wanted to make at least one challenge course focused around one of the new power-ups, and B. Mario is one they seem particularly proud of. His main ability outside of flight is how he can stick to these honey walls, so this galaxy focuses on climbing a series of these honey walls while avoiding falling debris, moving platforms, and bugger-boom enemies on your way to the star. B. Mario isn't my favourite power-up in the world, it's a little slow for me, but the way it's used here is very clean, concise, and makes you feel like you've mastered the bee when you start skipping certain portions as you fly as little as possible to get the most out of your meter. At number 26, we have Bowser's Star Reactor. This is the second enemy base and the first Bowser stage of the game. While Bowser Jr.'s stages focus on 3D platforming and varied vistas, Bowser's stages are a little more traditional. You've got firebars, thwomps, gravity switching shenanigans, and a lot of 2D platforming. It really feels like an evolution of the Bowser stages from 64, even featuring a new rendition of the Bowser stage theme from that game. I dislike a lot of the 2D segments in the first Galaxy game as they don't feel particularly interesting, with the exception of the Bowser stages. I also love the brief sequence towards the end where Bowser is breaking the platforms beneath you as you climb, leading to your first battle against him. I love Galaxy 1's Bowser's fights. They feel dynamic, they have meaningful changes with each encounter, you're dodging fireballs, shockwaves, and leading him into ground-pounding the blue orbs so you can set his ass on fire. And the dynamic music that gets louder as you stun him is ear candy. The other enemy bases are all significantly better than the Star Reactor, but it still does a solid job as a galaxy. At number 25, we have the Slingpod Galaxy. Infamous on the Nintendo Wii for missed inputs and the Slingpods having awful hitboxes so you just go sailing past them, I can't say I had those issues on the Switch. Is it an age thing? Am I just better at aiming Mario? I'm really not sure. But I actually really enjoyed using the Slingpods, and I found a lot of the timing-based challenges really fun to figure out. Shooting between a series of firebars, then using the pull stars to get through the minefield in the center, all leading to that final shot at the end as you time the moving walls so you can shoot between them from the power star, it's great. Slingpod Galaxy is also important as it is the best place, bar none, for farming star bits for the hungry Lumas in the observatory. You get so many star bits per pass, and when you die, you keep the star bits you already collected, and the star bits in the stage respawn so you can keep collecting them. Just for being the best farming spot in the game, I have to show Slingpod some respect. At number 24, we have the Bonefin Galaxy. Fun fact, you need 55 stars and to have beaten the Dreadnought Galaxy to unlock this level. 55 stars is more than the Melty Molten Galaxy's 52 stars. That's kinda crazy. Once in, you'll face off against Kingfin and his Bonefin brethren. The actual fight works similarly to the eels from Dreadnought. You grab either green or red shells and use them to attack Kingfin, with him taking not 3, not 4, but 5 hits to bring down. While he doesn't do much himself, his Bonefins will target and home in on you, with him summoning more of them as the fight progresses. My strategy is just to constantly red shell. Green shells are liable to miss, and once you know where the red shell spawns, you can swim back there after each launch to collect it when it respawns. The aura of this galaxy is fantastic, by the way. Little Billy was terrified of Kingfin as a kid, and even as an adult, it does creep me out a little bit. The Mario team really came into their own with their boss fights in the Mario Galaxy games. At number 23, we have the Dreadnought Galaxy. This is a controversial take, I know, but while I totally get the appeal of Mario effectively breaching a giant space rocket, I can't pretend to you guys, it's not my vibe. I just don't really enjoy space and sci-fi elements in media. Dreadnought is a sequel to the Battle Rock Galaxy, even down to having the same boss fight at the end with the Top Man tribe, and having the same type of secret star with the Garbage Dump. It even has the same auto-scrolling platforming mission to reach one of their stars, which is shared between the two galaxies' purple coin concepts as well. But I'm just a bigger fan of the Battle Rock. I don't like how the main mission of the Dreadnought has you infiltrate the ship, only to end on a random aqua planet with no real relation to the rock itself. It's very cool aesthetically, the lasers are fun, I'll give you that, and the 2D section with the gravity switching is pretty fun. But look, I know I'm in the minority here. Dreadnought is more challenging than the Battle Rock, but I find the missions in the Battle Rock Galaxy to be a little more to my tastes. At number 22, we have the Loopde-loop Galaxy. This is the Green Star variant of the Manta Ray minigame, and would you look at that, we actually have a loop this time, way! Loopde-loop is all about hard turns that go on for way longer than you expect, forcing you to adjust your position at a moment's notice lest you go careening into the void. I always wondered what happened to the Ray when you both fall off. Feels a bit grim, doesn't it? Given I'm a big fan of this minigame, the harder variant with a way more interesting course layout was always going to land a decent ways onto this list. But it doesn't crack my top 20. At number 21, we have Bowser Jr.'s Robot Reactor. The first of the enemy bases, you start on a planet where you have to lure a Bullet Bill into various cages to progress. This is a great start as it teaches you the main mechanic of the boss fight against Megaleg. This is a full Shadow of the Colossus moment as you scramble up the legs of the giant robot, jumping over moving gears until you reach the head. From here, you can either lead Bullet Bills into the grated fences, giving you an opening to get another Bullet Bill to break the star cage, or you can do some fun backflips to get the Bullet Bill to go above the fence and skip that part entirely. Ironically, this was a technique I knew how to do as a kid, but I can't for the life of me remember nowadays. Either way, Megaleg is a really fun first boss and sets a great tone for the upcoming battles, whilst also providing a fun sense of scope. At number 20, we have the Matter-Splatter Galaxy. The concept of a level that is only revealed for moments at a time is really cool to me. They touch upon this concept with the Secret Star in the Ghostly Galaxy, but Matter-Splatter is where they really hit it out of the park. I love the opening portion with the water droplet sounds as the Kameks try to stop you from progressing to the pipe. Then there's the moving spotlight segment where you have to follow the movements of the light to reach the upper pipe. The spring segment is where most players struggle, as the spotlight moves upwards and you have to be ready to bounce up to the next spring platform you see, whilst avoiding getting flung into the void. It's genuinely a ton of fun, and one of the few moments where the spring power-up is at its strongest, but I will admit the auto-scroll nature of this portion of the level is a bit painful, as a single slip-up has you waiting an extra 3 minutes to try again, and that can build up per attempt. The last sequence has you progressing to the star while picking the path that extends forwards, avoiding dead ends until you reach the goal. Solid design, no major complaints, but I'm glad this galaxy ends here before the gimmick can overstay its welcome. At number 19, we have Bowser Jr.'s Airship Armada. Mario Galaxy brings the airships of the 2D games into 3D, and they do it fabulously. The airships lend themselves really well to the space theme too. You blast out of cannons and use pull stars to halt your momentum, then you ride a massive platform along a fast-moving track, avoiding spiders until you reach the boss's ship. Do I wish this level was a little longer? Sure, Galaxy 2 does this concept a lot better with one of its boss galaxies, but I like seeing where the spark came from, so to speak. And the battle against Bowser Jr. is one of the toughest in the game. His ship takes 5 hits to take down, with him firing bullet bills and summoning Kameks while you're using the various Koopas to take pot shots at his ride. There's so much happening at any given moment, and then he swaps the bullet bills out for flaming cannonballs that can block your shell shots. It's great! More of this, please. At number 18, we have the Good Egg Galaxy. This is the first full-length galaxy in the game, and it sets the stage beautifully. If Gateway Galaxy was the hand-holded tutorial, Good Egg takes away the stabilizers, aside from the occasional Luma comment. What I love is that they cover the main types of star here. You've got Dino Piranha, which has you explore the main planet, then a series of smaller side planets with little challenges to complete, like collecting launch star fragments, avoiding rolling boulders, and so on and so forth, even having an optional side path to a Flipswitch planet. A snack of cosmic proportions introduces you to the hungry Lumas, but also utilizes the giant tower in the center of the galaxy with its gravity-flipping side-scrolling action. And 2 of the 3 main stars contain simple boss fights against the Dino Piranha and King Caliente, showcasing how the Mario Galaxy games are a little more combat-focused than previous Mario titles. I even love the purple coin mission in the post-game, as it introduces you to the 100 coin concept in a very simple, straightforward trio of planets, acting as a tutorial before you're released into the wider world with the rest of the purple coin missions. The only real flops here are the speedrun comet, because I really don't like how the speedruns are handled in the first Galaxy game, and the Luigi star, which, while a tutorial for his mechanic of finding him in different levels, is kinda lazy. Good Egg is iconic, solid beginner level, helps teach you what you need to know. What more do you need? At number 17, we have the Bubble Breeze Galaxy. I really like the use of the bubble in Mario Galaxy, and with the Switch's tighter motion controls, I found I could really take my time and just enjoy the obstacles presented. You have to blow the bubble through the moving mines, past rotating obstacles, and more, while collecting star fragments to blast to the second half of the level, where you again move until you reach the star. The checkpoint midway through the galaxy is what helps it for me, because unlike some of the other gimmick galaxies that would start you from square one, you actually get a bit of a breather here. I really love the aesthetic of the purple water as well, mixed with the light greens of the grass. It just pleases me, and sometimes that's enough to make me think, ooh, I want to play you again. Kinda similar vibe to Deep Dark Galaxy, except this one's gimmick is far better than that one's plethora of mid-stars. At number 16, we have the Ghostly Galaxy. The designated spooky level of the game, this is where all of the boos have gathered, and honestly, it's a fun time. I'm personally a big fan of the Bouldergeist mission, using the Slingpods and pull stars to climb up to the boss arena, followed by what might be one of my favorite fights in all of Mario. The Daredevil Comet haunted the dreams of my poor child brain, but I got revenge for myself by soloing it this time around. The spooky sprint between the boo is pretty fun. I kept failing until I realized you can just use the boost star midway to skip towards the end of the course, but I like the use of the pull stars here. Speaking of the pull stars, the purple coin mission has you becoming a pull star master to get that star before the timer runs out. It's so much fun, and the optional Matter-Splatter star is really interesting. I love the complete shift in Skybox as you go from the spooky blues and ghostly clouds to ominous light green void. Where the galaxy loses me though is the way it barely uses the actual mansion. You see it in the first mission with Luigi, but you're mostly in the entrance hall, then outside, then you float through 2 rooms as Boo Mario and you're done. Speaking of, this is Boo Mario's first level and it barely gets used. No real level design is built around it. What a letdown. Similarly, the introduction of the Bomb Boos and Bouldergeist's mission could have created some cool puzzles with you using them to break your way forwards, but they do it once with this Bowser statue and never again. I'm just sensing a bit of missed opportunity for some of the level design here that I wish had been pounced on. Just because you have one of my favorite missions in the game, Bouldergeist, doesn't mean I won't rank the whole galaxy down as a whole. At number 15, we have the Battle Rock Galaxy. I said it during the Dreadnought segment, but the two galaxies have very similar setups with their stars. One star is based around infiltrating the main location, with us entering the Battle Rock to blow up its cannons so we can land on a missile to collect a star. One has us do an auto-scroll segment avoiding cannon fire, which I think is a really cool sequence the first time through due to the curved platform you're on allowing you to go underneath to dodge certain obstacles. The purple coin mission is kind of fun too, since it shows you the optimal routing as you follow the coin trail, but I can understand people getting annoyed if they miss a coin and have to start over. Making us do that auto-scroller a third time though, to free Luigi from his little cage, that one actively annoyed me, I won't lie. The top maniac fight is pretty fun, not too difficult but I like the concept, and I'll even be nice about the gravity flipping sequence in the Battle Rock itself, even if it is my least favourite part of the course. Most infamously though, Battle Rock is the creator of the garbage dump stars, where you have to throw bombs to blow up trash, aiming for the yellow spots on the floor for optimal bomb placement. The trick is to try and aim for a chain reaction, blowing up multiple bombs at the same time. This star was the bane of my existence and many others as a kid. I'm glad to say though, I have leveled up as an adult. I really like the energy of the Battle Rock, especially with how it's a space station that's actively hiding its identity behind all of this rocky exterior. Kinda makes you wonder, who created the Battle Rock? Was it Bowser's? What is it for? At number 14, we have the Sweet Sweet Galaxy. The first of the Observatory Hungry Luma levels, I just love the Sweet Treat aesthetic, and I think a level that is all about pure platforming is a welcome change in a game that is usually so forgiving with its jumps. It's very easy to slip between a hole in the floor and plummet to your doom, and the way the moving floors change how they rotate from right to left to circling around, up until that ending sequence where you're jumping over platforms in the sky and electrical fences, it's fantastic. I always remember this level anytime I think about Mario Galaxy, and for good reason. At number 13, we have Bowser Jr.'s Lava Reactor. The return of King Caliente is here, but first we have to lead a bullet bill across a much more dangerous planet than Junior's first stage. Break open the launch star cage and you'll head down to a series of floating green platforms that slowly sink into the lava. This is your quick tutorial on how they work, because the King Caliente rematch has you fighting him on these sinking platforms. It's the same fight, but the arena is more difficult since you can't stay in one spot for too long, meaning hitting those coconut volleys can be pretty brutal. I think the reuse of an old boss but with a clear difficulty spike is a nice change of pace, and the fiery lava background of the planet is sufficiently ominous enough to work for the final junior level. At number 12, we have Bowser's Dark Matter Plant. The second Bowser stage in the game, take everything I said about the first Bowser Galaxy and enhance it, because Bowser's Dark Matter Plant is just better in every way. There's a heavier emphasis on 2D sections with gravity mechanics, asking you to shift around various platforms so that when the gravity changes, you won't fall into the dark matter and get disintegrated to death. There are platforming segments in 3D where some of the floors are missing as well, forcing you to avoid those spots so you don't fall, and the fight against Bowser is a little tougher since he gains a melee spin attack of his own on top of his usual ground slams, shockwaves, and flame breath. Fun fact by the way, I didn't get this on camera, but you can parry his spins with your own. I did it during my Luigi playthrough, which I didn't record for storage purposes, and I was like, oh my god, I parried him. Does that make Mario Galaxy a Souls-like? Can't even say it with a straight face. At number 11, we have the Bubble Blast Galaxy. This is the Green Star Galaxy featuring the bubble blowing gimmick. The first half sees you going through 5 pipes and collecting launch star fragments, avoiding mines, flamethrowers, and lightning walls as you go. One failure and you have to collect all the fragments from scratch, so you gotta lock in. Luckily, once you blast off to the second half of the level, there's a checkpoint. Here you have to make your way from the leftmost part of this lightning maze to the rightmost part where the star is waiting. The trick is that there are bullet bill launchers, and those bullet Williams will home in on your bubble if you don't move past them quick enough. For me, speed worked better than patience here. Use your instincts, blast that bubble, and don't be afraid, because going too slow will get you popped. I love that last sequence leading up to the star where there are like 3 or 4 blasters one after the other, with the path you take getting thinner and thinner as you go. It takes some real control to beat this galaxy, but the challenge felt incredibly fair, and they utilized the bubble gimmick to its fullest potential. Just like I'm realizing my channel's fullest potential, the potential to reach 50,000 subscribers by the end of 2026. You can help, we're on our way, and if you subscribe, I'll cover more Mario games in the future. At number 10, we have the Gold Leaf Galaxy. I was convinced this was going to be a bottom tier galaxy for the pure recolored and mirrored asset reflip of Honeyhive. Turns out though, Gold Leaf Galaxy has some hands. Sure, the first mission with the Polestar fragment hunting is a little on the basic side, especially as it just leads you to a quick bunny chase. But the second mission is absolutely genius. Bringing back the Cataquacks from Super Mario Sunshine and asking Mario to lead them around various planets to shoot him to different locations, bloody fantastic! Then you get a massive wooden structure in the third mission to climb up, leading to a genuinely fun mini-boss against a Monty Mole and a large cannon. It's just really good stuff. There's even a cute hidden star involving the bubble power-up as you blow around a series of music notes to spawn a star. Not hard, but I think it's neat. The two comets, though, are why Gold Leaf doesn't land any higher. Both the Cosmic Mario Race and the Purple Coins focus on the same wooden structure from the Monty Mole mission, making it feel a little less special by the time you're finished with the whole galaxy. I actually think the Purple Coins would have been more fun if they were moved to the planets with the Cataquacks, whilst letting the Cosmic Mario remain the same due to its genuinely good parkour challenge. I think it's interesting how Gold Leaf is a recolor of Honeyhive, yet the two galaxies feel completely different in terms of their gameplay. While Dreadnought is purposefully very different in aesthetic to the Battle Rock, yet they feel way too similar in terms of gameplay. Really funny how that works out sometimes. At number 9, we have the Beach Bowl Galaxy. Immediately, I will say that the bowl itself could have been a little bigger, and the concept of just swimming out of the bowl into the void terrified me as a kid. But the majority of the stars here are pretty cute. The opening mission has you searching beneath the water for a series of launch star fragments, so you can do a little bit of swimming, get a little bit collecting going in, I love it. Then you blast up to the upper half of the planet, avoiding enemies, and using a switch to create platforms to the first star. The underwater cavern is iconic, because after breaking open the wall with the shell, you're blasted onto the Cyclone Stone, which is one of the most fun platforming sequences in the game. I don't care as much for its faster variant, I'll admit, but this initial star is fantastic, and it was so popular they dragged its corpse into Galaxy 2's Special World. And the hidden star that involves using the ice flower to jump up waterfalls on a secret island, followed by leading a Cataquack across a lake via frozen platforms so you can reach the secret star, is genius. Unironically, one of the best hidden stars in the entire game. But then we have the Purple Coin mission. I'd be a little more lenient on it if we didn't have to use Spring Mario. Yes, he's used well to reach the top of the trees, but sometimes you need a few precise jumps, and this power-up just isn't built to do that. And passing the swim test is a literal joke of a star. Grab a gold shell, which you can steal the moment you go under the water after talking with the big penguin, and you're done. This felt like a mission that needed something else, an extra oomph. Some really high highs, but the lows aren't too egregious, and the vibes of the Beach Bowl are immaculate. At number 8, we have Bowser's Galaxy Reactor. This is the final level leading to the climactic fight against Bowser, and features a gauntlet of mini-planets that you have to overcome before reaching the boss fight. From using gravity spotlights to climb up walls and avoid fire bars, to racing along a fiery planet while avoiding pits and meteors raining towards you, to an ice planet where the blocks appear as you jump, potentially causing you to slip if you're not careful, to a sand planet where fire bars are combined with moving platforms and instant death quicksand if you slip. It's all super intense, but it's platforming you should be used to by this point. I actually found the Cosmic Block section that builds itself as you move to be the toughest part though, because timing the way through those last few fire bars while the blocks behind you degrade is terrifying if you're at low health, and also dealing with those gravity shifts. The most iconic part of the level, though, is this giant lava spiral leading to the final boss. It features a series of moving platforms that rotate around the spiral, while bullet bills and bonsai bills also fire at you in an attempt to knock you into the lava. It takes a lot of awareness to get through this intact, but it is gorgeous spectacle. And then you face Bowser in the final fight, one of the best in the series. 3 distinct planets with 3 distinct ways to stun him, be it hitting him with timing as he rolls towards you, slamming those green plants into his face, and then a traditional fight with the mechanics you learned from the first 2 Bowser encounters. It all culminates with swelling music and one of the best victories in the Mario series. At number 7, we have the Gusty Garden Galaxy. Considered the poster boy of the Galaxy series thanks to that iconic opening theme, I think it's got one of the most cohesive atmospheres of either Galaxy game. All of the planets are themed around grass, gardens, apples that you can ground pound to create a worm bridge, which is genius by the way. The boss of the stage is a giant mole who's harassing a series of bunnies, it makes sense. I'm not the biggest fan of the fight against Major Burrows though, because the first hit is always a free gimme, because the boss doesn't actually target you from the start. They can't all be winners though. I love the puzzle cube that's used for the bunny chase and the purple coin mission. The bunny dashing through the hedges is a great little challenge, and collecting the purple coins while needing to remember which side of the cube the star will spawn on is great. Using the flowers to glide through the air as the music swells is breathtaking, and the secret golden chomp star requiring you to make use of this mechanic to hit the question mark coins so you can spawn the invincibility star is super inspired. Even when the galaxy takes a left turn into random gravity shenanigans, it's a lot of fun, with the big gravity structure even being color themed to match the garden vibes here, and the sequence with all of those cannons at the end is exhilarating. But damn, that boss fight and its Daredevil variant bring the stock of this galaxy down for me, just enough to miss out on my top 5. At number 6, we have the Buoy Base Galaxy, a certified classic. I don't think Nintendo expected this one-off platforming level to gain such a cult status, but the stats don't lie, and neither does the Mario Kart World Buoy Base remix. The main star features you smashing one of the buoys beneath the base to make it rise up, allowing you to begin your ascent. You have to avoid moving blocks, wall jump your way upwards, and find whatever little skips you can to make it to the top. There's a lot of skill expression here, such as using the wall jumps up this platform to skip the section with the thwomps. Then you collect star chips in the upper part with the various moving platforms, before eventually blasting up to the planet above the base where you can crack it open to reveal the star. It's basically a giant platforming challenge that is also incredibly fun, and I've always responded well to these types of levels in 3D Mario. But then you have the secret green star below. Break this cage using one of the torpedo Teds and you'll find a cage beneath the base that can be destroyed by the bullet bills spawned nearby. But you've got to avoid the amps that can also blow up the Williams. It's a cute hidden star and helps Buoy Base to feel like a fully cohesive level, even if it's only over in less than 10 minutes. At number 5, we have the Space Junk Galaxy. Of all the levels in the first game, Space Junk felt the most like you were traveling through deep space. Some of the most serene music you've ever heard in your whole life while you're being pulled along by pull stars and sling pods, drifting through space like the refuse you're parkouring on. I love the simplicity of the first mission, just you being pulled to your destination, then getting to collect silver stars from some of the cosmic blocks. The time attack variant is stupid though and ruins the entire atmosphere of this star. The patience and the slowness and the vibes are what makes it so good. I'm also not a fan of the Yoshi planet with the hungry Luma. It's just killing a bunch of Goombas the old-fashioned way, which isn't that satisfying in Galaxy. The purple coin mission that reuses the last part of the pull path sequence is really fun though. You know where the platforms are because you can see the purple coins in their little rings, but how you get to them? You've got to figure that one out. There are 2 boss fights in Space Junk as well, both of which are honestly peak. Camella's airship attack is a fully fleshed out airship level, complete with cannon firing, shell throwing, and a boss fight that can feel hectic, but is ultimately manageable if you can take out the minions. While Tarantox is a completely original boss who makes use of the sling pods in a really cool way. Sure, the weak spots are massive and glaring, but when you're slinging through that arena to destroy the next one, it's serious fun. Space Junk is at its best with that relaxing theme though, playing gently in your ears while you casually drift through the level, enjoying all the little moments like running beneath the glass planet floors for the launch star, or using pull stars to bounce through asteroid belts. At number 4, we have the Honeyhive Galaxy. One thing Mario games will do is lean fully into a mechanic and introduce it as best they can. With Honeyhive, that meant making everything bee-themed and giving the bee power-up a lot to do. It's required for Bee Mario Takes Flight, as you explore the level until you spawn the power-up, and then cross a series of honeyed walkways, you scramble along flowers avoiding water on this side island, and even scratch the Honey Queen's back, my favourite Mario Kart racer. It's a really cohesive level that showers you with the bee motif. Bring her back for Mario Kart World DLC, Nintendo. Trouble on the Tower is another fun mission, giving you access to a handful of fun side planets, before dropping you back on the top of the trees so you can knock out the 2 Bugabooms for your next star, which then leads perfectly into the boss fight with the big bad Bugaboom. It's a cohesive 3-act storyline, something that most of the Galaxies don't really attempt to deal with in Mario Galaxy. The optional moons are also really fun too. The Cosmic Mario Race is your first test of platforming skill to get ahead of the clone. The Purple Coin mission sees you exploring the whole island, but it feels really relaxing and chill. Sure, you might miss a coin or two, but there's only so many places they can be, and they use the environment extremely well here. It's one of my favourite purple coins in the game for a reason. Luigi and Honeyhive is the only floppiana of the bunch, but that's just Luigi's optional stars in general. If the worst part of the galaxy is a minimal secret star, I'd say it's in really good hands. And so we've reached the top 3. Only 3 galaxies remain. Which one is going to be my favourite? I don't know. You're going to have to keep watching to find out. But seriously, if you really want to help this channel to grow, consider parrying that subscribe button. We're trying to reach 50,000 subscribers. And if this video gets 750 likes, I will consider doing a Super Mario Galaxy 2 course ranking. So yeah, let's get into the top 3. At number 3, we have the Toy Time Galaxy. I'm actually shocked to see it this high. Like, yes, it leans heavily into its gimmick in a way I really love, but I've never been the biggest Spring Mario defender, and I thought that would low-key lower the Galaxy's stock, but turns out, no. I really enjoyed it. Heavy Metal Mecha Bowser is your Spring Mario introduction, and I love the portion at the end where you're climbing up the mech, destroying it piece by piece until you shatter its head with a spring ground pound. The rest of this mission is also incredibly fun, with brightly coloured platforms and a little gravity fun on top of it. The hidden Flipswitch Chain Star hit a similar feeling to the Cyclone Stone from Beach Bowl. I actually think the faster variant here is a little more enjoyable because you're not constantly getting pushed into the void for any misstep. Bouncing down Cake Lane is a surprisingly in-depth star that features the best use of Spring Mario while bouncing on rotating cakes and avoiding deadly gaps. They even throw an ice section with the frozen dessert sequence with the pole vaulting over ice lolly sticks, and then a birthday cake where you blow the candles out, and finally, a battle against a Monty Mole with this Spring Mario power-up. For me though, the standout stars are the Mario Meets Mario and Luigi's Purple Coin missions. I think the concept of creating platforming challenges involving the pair's iconic 8-bit looks is absolutely genius and perfect theming for this level, and the Purple Coin variant having more than 100 coins on the board meant you can make your own route without having to worry about collecting every single coin. Toy Time, you surprised me, but in a great way. However, even then, my top 2 galaxies were never in doubt. At number 2, we have the Melty Molten Galaxy. The final unlockable full-length galaxy in the game, I'm really glad that the Mario team decided to make Melty Molten a real test of your skill and challenge. Every mission is genuinely tough, and that makes them so much fun to master. The Sinking Lava Spire is a fantastic opener, taking you across the entire planet and through every set piece imaginable, blasting out of a volcano, dodging lava spires in a pull star situation, collecting star fragments to progress to the spire itself, and then racing up as the island sinks into the lava. It's bloody phenomenal stuff. They even made it into a Daredevil comet, the only Daredevil comet in this game to feature a level and not a boss, one of the toughest challenges in the first Galaxy game. I love that they just said, beat this hitless. It can be heartbreaking if you die right at the end due to the lengthy run back, which is why it's not one of my top 10 stars or anything, but I really respect the hell out of it. Through the Meteor Storm and Fiery Dino Piranha each have their own tricky sequences, the former with constant meteor showers and a rolling ball sequence to cap off the mission, the latter having a much tougher boss rematch against Dino Piranha, but bro lit himself on fire and goes feral during the last hit of the battle. Red Hot Purple Coins takes place entirely on the first island of the galaxy, giving it a focused space for you to find all the coins you need. Love the ones hidden in the volcano, by the way, that's great. And Burning Tide is a fun little hungry Luma star that sees you crossing a rising and falling lava planet collecting silver stars. It's surprisingly tricky because the lava only retracts for a short time, and those little fire enemies that chase you throughout are sneakily evil. Melty Molten Galaxy is, pardon the pun, fire. But I need some cold to balance it out, and I think I have just the thing. At number 1, we have the Freezeflame Galaxy. Fire and ice levels are just the perfect combination, I'm sorry, I will never get old of this pairing, and neither will Nintendo. Half of the galaxy takes place on an icy mountain, while the other half takes place in the fiery moon above. The icy mountain is so much fun to climb, using the ice flower to freeze the water, using your parkour skills to platform over the moving platforms, taking down barren Burr with a few well-timed spins. Then you've got the secret path to the tip of the summit that uses the fire flower instead to melt snowmen, avoid boulders, and continue the journey of careful platforming. Conquering the summit is one of the best secret stars, as it doesn't need to spawn new planets, it just asks you to keep climbing the one you're already on. Which is useful as well, because the Purple Coin mission asks you to explore that entire mountain, including the optional path to collect every purple coin, some of which are actually hidden just off camera on these ledges that you may be able to see when you boost down from the top of the mountain. But that's a lot of cold, so what about the heat? Freezeflame's blistering core has you covered. You use the fire flower to light torches and burn down boxes in various ways. Sometimes you even have to use fancy angles to hit certain torches, which is something I wouldn't think of normally. Hot and cold collide, then bring both elements together with a planet split into two halves with their elements, and you have to bring a fire flower from the hot side to the cool side so you can light a torch leading to the floating path to the star. And that floating skyway with the ice and the lava that you have to skate over to reach the star is so much fun. The ice flower allows you to skate along icy surfaces, and the ice flower also freezes lava, meaning you can gracefully get to the star with ease, which you then do in race format with the Cosmic Mario star, which is a little easier because you don't have to worry about collecting any ice flowers in that one, everything's frozen. Though I do find it odd that the Cosmic Mario race can appear before you actually visit this location in the third main mission. Ultimately, Freezeflame has that exploration that I love about the first Mario Galaxy, whilst also having a tight focus on what the galaxy wanted to be and telling a story the entire time. You kill Baron Burr, which makes the fire begin to encroach, creating the mix you see by the third mission. And it's my favorite galaxy in Super Mario Galaxy. But what's your favorite? Let me know down below, and stay tuned because next up, all 121 Super Mario Galaxy stars ranked from worst to best. It's gonna be a doozy. Adios.